Okay.
You're good, you're live, I'm just.
All right, we will call this meeting of the
Oh,
Castine Select Board to order. 4:02, I think, 1, 2. And we do have a quorum. So the first thing on our agenda is to approve the general fund warrant. We have a general fund warrant in the amount of $16,424.40. Do I have a motion? So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? I have none. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. And then we have a water warrant. In the amount of $826.18. I have a motion. Second, thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor? All right, thank you. All right, and
That's a big one.
now the big one, we need to approve the June 7th town meeting warrant.
So moved. You know, that's, I say we approve the warrant.
Second, okay, all right. Is there any discussion about the warrant?
A lot of hard work.
Yes, right, thank
It
you.
was Karen.
Karen, yeah, a lot of hard work.
I had a couple little edits here and there. Do you want to go through them one by one, or do you want me to transfer them to Karen?
Is there not anything that's substantive?
No, I don't think so.
Then just, yes, work with me and so.
Okay, let me just double check, because I don't think it was. Oh.
So good having a lawyer on the board. This does what brings.
My only substantive one, I think, is number 59. For, in reference to the lease for the lighthouse, do we need to say that the residential lease to clarify that, or have we done that?
We have not done that in the past. I mean, you guys can do that if you want.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that makes
I
sense.
think that's our intention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
I'll give you my copy.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, she's writing on that one too. So
Thank you.
great. We'll have to do that.
Are you going to leave us your others?
I can,
or-
yeah, I can do that.
Okay,
Not a problem.
All right. And with that, small change, all in favor? Aye. Yes.
Yes.
We have a one.
Yes.
That happens. I would like to make a motion that we adjourn to work session.
And be-
Okay, all in favor? All right.
before you guys do that, I'm just gonna grab your signatures.
Give us one second.
All right, here's warrants.
So I will go in.
These are just, you put this right here.
It's party.
Warrant you signed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is the town meeting warrant. If you could sign above your name, please.
No, what is yours?
Is it maybe in black?
I'm gonna have you do it in black. You have black or is that?
Yeah.
I have mine on.
Because it's mid-year. So. So, you know, I just don't.
Above the name.
So I want them to see the same amount that they voted.
Okay.
Sounds good. And then.
Perfect, thank you.
Cheers. How do we have this? You still say that one? The state, the state said that we get the maximum amount of.
As our meetings become calmer, there's fewer people coming.
That's it.
You know, people come for the fireworks.
Yeah, I'm gonna have you sign in black, and that one above,
Above the line, huh?
and then these are the warrants. and the motor vehicle.
Many of
Thank you.
Okay, so discussions on town facilities and potential user fees and service fee increases. So. We already passed the mooring dock fee that the harbor committee did. And the building permit fee schedule that with those increased costs will be at town meeting.
Yep.
So transfer station, we kind of said during budget that those are, we're gonna leave those the same right now. So the only thing that we really have to change yet is if we want to change, well, we do have a few things. We
I
have,
had one question about the landfill, so. You take brush or trees or, you know, what I mean, to the leaf pile, we're not charging anything now for that.
I think,
I think so.
I think Nina tells you kind of.
Okay, okay.
It used to be that in May you didn't charge because everyone was cleaning
Okay.
up after the winter, but
Yeah,
Nina informed me that's no longer the case.
okay.
Oh.
No,
Okay.
that's true.
Getting tough out there.
Okay, but I need to talk to her, because I took stuff the other day and she didn't say anything to me, so
Okay.
so that,
So the things that we could change if we wanted to, we want to. Liquor license and amusement licenses
Yep.
have not gone up in a long
so
time.
that's where he.
They are currently a $25 renewal fee for a liquor license, $100 for a new one. $10 for a catering permit. And
Then the one-time
the
fees.
amusement, yeah, so we, you know, if we think those are worthwhile, it's been a long time,
So that was from, when was it last time it was done? 2018,
2018, yeah, so,
so 7 years. I mean,
I don't know.
20%, I mean, if you can did inflation, 3% a year for 7 years. That'd be, so if we did a 25%, that would have just kept up with inflation.
Okay.
I'd like to also see, what some other towns like Blue Hill and others are charging.
Okay.
Like their inns, you know, because it just hits some of our inns, some of our other businesses.
Yeah.
They're doing, if we can be,
Okay,
maybe, or at least just use it as a
model,
marker, not that we have to do
We can
that.
check into
Can we
that.
look at
do you happen to know what Bucksport does?
I'm
Barrett?
I don't, off the
Okay.
top of my head.
happy to do
Yeah,
that.
let's do that.
This doesn't have to happen immediately,
Okay.
we just,
Okay.
this is something we're talking
Okay.
about, so, yeah, I think so. We also haven't changed our town office fee policy, so for copies. Like if people come in and want copies, or if they need, well, we probably don't do faxes anymore, but faxes, or notary public. And we could, those haven't been changed since 2014, so it's been 11 years, so. We might increase those.
Well, you know, especially if we're looking at getting a different photocopy machine, it would, you know, it would help to save some of that cost.
So again, I can look at other towns and
Yeah.
what they're charging.
Okay.
and we can
Okay.
see. Okay. And then,
We can talk with Karen and see also like the cost of the paper license being used
Yeah.
for photocopier. Should we certainly would be covering that? I would expect, you know,
Exactly.
on like a per sheet basis.
That's it.
That's a those and.
um,
So would you say photocopy or fax? What was this? Was there a third?
yeah, we had notary public,
Notary public.
and then the notary public is signatures
Yeah.
for other notary services, and then we also have on here $50 for performing a marriage ceremony. And notary performing a marriage ceremony. It's so cool.
That's great.
$50 is an absolute like steal. I think that's a steal.
Yeah.
Wow. So, and then we also have, our clerk fees and genealogy research policy.
No, we
I didn't know we had. So, that was last updated, in May of 2008.
17 years ago.
And so there are fees, along with that. Because the town clerk is authorized to conduct genealogy research when requested on a time available basis, and the fee is $35 an hour, if that sounds fairly. What do you
Are
think?
we able to change that one though? That's why I wanna look at thirty
It's
A
a
on that one.
policy by the
Right.
select board.
But it says 30A 2652, and sometimes those take precedent,
Right.
so let me just see. If they've done it, it's kind of like,
Thank you.
they set up rules for like. Somebody will do this freedom of information
you're
thing
for it
that's
because
like
you have
over,
authority.
right,
But that's
and they
like
said it.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
why, that's what you.
So let's see, so on this here, let's just take a look, marriage, death, there's what is this, record recording. Registration of $1. See, affidavit, record of birth, those aren't same thing though.
Now, this is specifically.
That may be right. Collect fees for services pursuant, shall collect fees pursuant established by. Genealogy research, I don't see that. Listed yet. I don't see it, but I'll do a little more research because you're right, it seems low.
All right, and then the final one is the facilities use policy. I don't think we ever charged fees in this one, and I don't know that we should ever charge fees in this one. But there, we have had an influx of weddings at Fort Madison.
Mhm.
And we could add.
Oh, how much do we charge for Fort Madison now?
I thought it was $100.
I mean, just to give you, I think the Wilson Museum, I think it's 3,000 or something like that. I forget what it is to use the, the equipment, which is basically the equivalent.
Right,
Yeah.
so if we increased Fort Madison to $250.
Yeah.
That wouldn't
Yeah.
be, okay, but I'll check with other towns.
Okay.
And see if they have.
Okay.
And as for like using like this place, I will say a lot of my places that I've been. Do charge a nominal fee, but normally that's if it isn't somebody that lives in town, owns a property in town, or isn't a town recognized group or nonprofit. Then those would be waived for those, but for outside people that have no connection, then they would charge.
Guess we could add that, we don't.
Right.
See that.
Just as a thought.
Yeah. And then also for Bachelor Beach, I don't think we charge, do we? As a party on Bachelor Beach, I don't
know, we had a series about mitzvah there a number of years ago, I mean, we asked permission, but I don't know that we were charged.
I don't think we charge, and I don't know that we should, I don't. Should we charge for use of beach? No. I don't think so.
I would say the town residents know, maybe we do $50 or $100 for non-town residents. Yeah, it could be, I mean, I think we should, people are paying taxes here and.
Right, no, for sure.
And it should be a benefit from being a taxpayer.
Right, well, remember, I think about that for Fort Madison, do we require that they have a connection to Castine? I mean, maybe not a residential one, but.
We kind of do, yeah, we do, we require that there's some sort of a
Yeah.
connection, so it's usually somebody's parents live here and whatnot, or, yeah, so,
The question,
yes.
what's the difference between Fort Madison and the Bachelor Beach?
I guess in my mind, it was just that Fort Madison is used for very specific events, it's typically weddings. Whereas the Bachelor would be a weekend, a couch barbecue or something.
Yeah.
That's just my thought, but if we're not charging for residents.
Yeah.
And then would we not charge Fort Madison fees for residents either?
I mean, if somebody's if somebody has a big wedding and the tent goes up and the whole thing. And then does it cost us money? Do we have to go over there and clean up after? What happens if that?
To the town, yeah.
I think it's, weddings, it's a. I think, even if we charged $100 for town residents and $400 for non, like, or $500 for non-residents, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, because public works has to go, they have to
Exactly.
make sure the grass is
Exactly,
on that day.
yeah.
Okay. Well, we can. I will bring that in,
Yes.
next time. They are. Okay. What's my agenda?
It's right there, website.
Thank you, website. Okay, Derek and I just talked about that and we decided that we weren't gonna talk about the website until we have three companies.
Well, there's just a couple other companies, that I think we should check out. Hey, Sue? Does the state set genealogy fees or do we?
Is the state what?
Set the genealogy research fees or do we?
We have to follow state statutes, yeah.
So it's probably in that law, some places in the fee schedule of what we can
Yeah.
charge.
We already looked at that and that's fine, that's why we didn't.
Okay, so that
That
one,
one's fine, that can
Okay.
stay there.
alright.
That can stay there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, so I know Sue's checked out Revise, there's also Citalis, and then there's Civic Plus. Those are the three main template type driven ones that most towns in New England and Maine use. So you can find any of those being used. Just so you know, I've worked with all three of them. Although Revise was only briefly. But the Citalis used to be office.gov or something, Gov Office, which was International City Managers originally helped start that one, and I don't know, there wasn't anything out there for governments, for model websites, so, and then Civic Plus was called Virtual Towns and Cities. And it's all over the country now, but it was started in Maine, just so you know. And then Revise, I'm not sure, they have a little history too, so they all have their little quirks, but I would recommend any of those three when the time comes, and of course.
I will
cost.
say this, that when you go to a website and it's well done. Your response, like the emotional response to a good website versus going to one that's not, is like night and day. And if we're looking at like trying to attract people to town, I think that I think whatever we invest is gonna be paid back many times over in terms of, tourists and interest in the town. So I'm a real advocate of a good website.
On that, may I ask a question? Is this okay to?
Yeah.
At this one? I heard a rumor that perhaps the town was looking into a IT system, a server or something of that sort. I don't know. I know that you don't have one now, as far as I know. Where all your material is stored safely and backed up, et cetera. It could be in Colorado, it could be in Texas, or wherever. But I just want to let you know that the tree committee has a database of all of our trees that is housed in a private individual's laptop. And that's where it lives. And that makes me very nervous.
Yeah.
It's not my laptop, it's
Yeah.
somebody else's. So I'm just wondering if the town would have space eventually, a server for that kind of thing.
From what we used to do in our business, is we had our own server. And then every single day, that server was backed up remotely. It was like an automatic thing. So really, in my opinion, all of the town's sensitive information or semi-sensitive information should go either into our server, which gets backed up, or I think in today's world, I'm not even sure if you need a server on site I just think it goes to the
You can
cloud.
rent a space anywhere.
Yeah, but I do agree with you. I think that anything that's sensitive should be in a safe server someplace.
And currently the town does not have that.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know.
I would say. Yes, he's correct. So one of the things coming up in May, just so, I did have, SJ Rollins come in and, look at some stuff and their price blew me out of the water. I was like, yeah, never. But in May, they're having the Maine Municipal Association Technology Conference. So I want to visit a few different places, but what we spend here on IT versus like what I spend now in town, don't forget we had full-time fire, police, public works and everything else, so we had 80 people on it, but it was $60,000 a year we spent on our IT stuff. To whether it was cloud storage or redundancy, everything else, I'm not looking at doing something like that. But for instance, I bring my laptop home with me every day. I have a little backup, which we use now, and that stays here. But we are not networked together, so I wouldn't have everything on there, and that's my ultimate goal is to have everything there and to be carbonating or whatever
So-
on the website or something. That everything, cause that's the other thing, I'm saving documents on mine, somebody else, so when I have a forward request. I have to go to all of them and say, hey, do you have this? And do you have that or something like that? And I should be able to just do one solid search that would search like a centralized hard drive.
So on that note, if you get a recommendation in May,
Yeah,
let's say there's a reasonable, something that's, you know, a reasonable price. Given that we just finished the budget, are we?
it may be another year or it could be when we have a special town meeting, I say, let's just pull it out of surplus.
Because
Something like
because
that.
I'm sure that it's gonna cost $20,000-$30,000 in a microsecond.
Well, I mean, just to have the server and a peer-to-peer type of network's gonna cost us something. It's been a while since I looked at that. I just know that when I transitioned back from the cloud, cause it was driving me nuts, cause it was getting some weird delays every half hour, and I finally got sick of everybody complaining. And they complained, it's our IT company, nobody else has these problems, and I was finally like, you know what? We're bringing this all back in my house,
Okay.
same IT company managing it, but it was just those little hiccups that were driving me nuts. And I was always the guy that had to call them, and they hated me.
So let me ask you-
Passing, I'm like, I'm not the bad guy,
But-
I'm just passing on the complaints.
Derek, if we didn't put it in the cloud, if we just had a remote, if we had a server here.
Yeah,
And then there were, so, actually, I remember, if I go back a few years, what we used to do before the cloud was we backed up all the information every day. And then there were 2 remote hard drives. And both of those remote hard drives at the end of the day were taken, like, I remember I used to take one home every day and we used to have somebody else take one home. So if there was ever a fire at the business, we didn't worry. So, and once we had our server crash and we were able to pull all the data from the, so I mean, so if the cloud thing is expensive, we could do something like that. Where either you or Sue just takes this remote hard drive home every day.
well, that's why I wanna get into the technology thing, see what else is out there for like other smaller.
Yeah,
IT companies that may be out there. So in Allenstown, when we went back to the other way, and I think Bucksport actually does something similar. Theirs, I think they have 2 different. They have a hard drive in town hall that's connected, they have a hard drive at the police and fire station, right? They back each other up. So, and that's where it gets back to, and that's the same thing we did in
Okay.
Allenstown. Police actually had the main one, of course, half their stuff was locked out, so I don't know where they were backing it up to, but I couldn't have access, so it was, I think it was still getting onto our server, but I couldn't see it because it.
We have permissions, right?
Right, so in that case, I didn't even know where it existed because I couldn't get it, I could get into certain files of theirs, but most of them, I couldn't, anything to do with criminal records or anything. Because I wasn't allowed to without this, And in New Hampshire, they put you in jail and fine you for accessing records that you aren't supposed to see. So like a town clerk can't go in, they're having a wedding, they go, oh, I wonder what Roberta's home address is. They monitor that stuff with the DMV and they fire town clerks and like fine them $5,000 for invasion of privacy. It's craziness. At first, I thought it was laughable, and then I started finding out about these people that were losing their jobs and getting fined, and I was like, geez, they do take it serious. Cause literally, when you go to their motor vehicle class, for an hour and a half, they drill into your head, you aren't allowed to do, I know it's tempting, but don't ever do this. And then like, they literally will find like an odd search, and they audit it, like, why did somebody look up this? I don't see a registration happening within so yeah. And they have, I think they have a division of the state police, that's what they do.
Wow.
Yeah, it went back to my sister Sam, you know, that TV show where Pam Dauber was in it. She had a sister that played her sister, and some guy stalked her and then killed her.
Okay, yeah.
It goes back to then, so it's like, so that's why they put it in there.
Okay.
And, but they've had police, even a policeman can't go in and go, hey, what's the address or what's this? If they look it up, they've got, the clerks have been fired for doing it because the police need to use their own computers, not the clerks. Craziness, but I'm not making it up. Look up fired town clerks, you'll see why. They looked up something stupid, had a memory lapse,
Sure, right?
and then boom.
Keeps the system.
Yeah.
With
What
integrity.
I'm hearing, Castine may need an IT consultant or
Yeah.
overhaul or
Yeah.
something
Well,
to assess what we have and
I-
what we should get to.
I think that's one of the, that's why I put money, I originally wanted to get 3 times that in a technology reserve. But to slowly do this, so this year I think we ended up using 20,000.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the website, I'll look at this other stuff. But if I get something reasonable, I'll get it done sooner than later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and if
then-
it's not too bad and we need to go to surplus, I think we can have that
Yeah.
conversation.
Good.
Because we'll also change, like I was working today, I could, for the life of me, I got a letter last Thursday and I'm like, what did I, what is it? That, I forget which it was some .gov thing and it wouldn't let me do anything here. I was trying to, and I'm like, why did I get this letter? What was I working on 2 weeks ago? Cause it took 2 weeks to get there. It was actually a .gov domain, Castine.gov. Which is something they recommend all governments use because they're more secure. It's part of the cybersecurity stuff. So I'm like 90% now done with that request. It looks like we can just, which is rare. Normally you have to get a domain that is the state you're in. So like Allenstown was Allenstown NH, Hooksett NH, Manchester NH. But since Castine its own thing, I think we're just gonna be able to get Castine.gov, which is rare and special at the same time,
Cool.
right?
Okay.
So, so that's the name I put in, but Castine ME is a backup one if they don't
Yeah.
give it to us.
That's-
But that will be what our new emails will end up being and everything else. And then, of course, in Allenstown, but it's, I forget what it is, it's like $2 a month per email client. But that's what I wanna get into is those there, because like board chairman and everything like that should have probably a. Castine.gov, so that's what I'm looking at going to, in my spare time.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, this, I've been waiting for this technology conference so I could really get in and get people to go, okay, yeah, I can stop in or whatever.
So we can discuss this again. and
Right, yep.
after you go in May.
Okay.
Yep.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, so we have talked a little bit in passing about having a contest, a traffic calming slogan.
I love it. And I actually have a thought.
Okay,
We should have like a $500 or $1,000 prize. Like we should really.
He's gonna donate.
No, but I actually think if there's a cash prize, we will get a lot of activity. And I just think that like, to me, this is a really big thing to get people in town thinking about traffic safety. And I just think that I'm always amazed at people's creativity when, like you have no idea, but anyway, if there's a way that we could do a prize.
We could possibly do 500, we have money in contingency.
I know, but I don't know if it's allowable, you'll have to ask
said-
per string.
What if there was donations for the?
Well, that's a different story, donations, then you can get away with it.
Okay, okay, so then why don't we say that I
You
will
will solicit donations.
I will solicit donations, yes.
Okay.
Cause I had a crazy idea many years ago about getting people to town meeting. And saying that you'd get $1,000 abatement, right, if you were at town meeting, we'd do a drawing. And I was pretty sure we would fill up the room, but I was told we couldn't do it. Although it was a question of law at the time, but I'm pretty sure that would get you to town meeting, wouldn't it?
You can't pay $1 million for people.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, I just think I think we should definitely do it.
I'm sure if we can
We
do
should
that, you ought to be able to do
definitely,
$1,000 abatement.
Have a contest, we should definitely have a prize, if it's not money, let's come up with a prize, and I think that we should, put it out on the text, and we can get an article about it. And yeah, I would say it would be great, if we did it, if we announced I don't know, if we announce it. Give it 2 months, a month and a half, like in, July, or, I don't know, we May and June. 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
Announce the town meeting, we could announce it at town meeting.
Okay,
That's
great.
June 7th this year.
Yeah, and then we could just say about Steel Day, when we have all the people around, we could announce the winner, something like that.
Mhm.
Oh, I was thinking announcing the winner at town meeting.
Oh, announce the meeting, oh, I love that, I love that,
Because we've got
okay,
usually a pretty good showing.
Got about
Oh,
2
yeah,
months
this is-
to go.
Huh?
You got about 2 months.
That'd be
should
great.
enough time.
yeah, and that would be a fun thing at town meeting, because we could actually have
Thousands
a,
of
we could
pretty
actually have a
happy
mock-up
prize.
of it. We could blow it up, and it'd be great,
Okay, so you're gonna work on a prize,
yeah,
and I'll talk to Sue and Karen
Yeah.
about getting some stuff on the website.
yeah,
We'll say there is a prize, we won't say yet
Yeah.
what it is, and we can
Yeah.
add that in.
yeah,
Okay,
Right, it might be
Derek, you might win, but you might not, I don't know.
I'll donate
And
my
then,
prize.
right, and let's think about like how we might wanna market this out, because I think,
Yeah.
I wanna be sure like the Adams School is
I
included.
want
totally.
MMA is included, I mean, we
Yeah.
only have students for another 2.5 weeks at MMA, right?
It's a shame that we can't get
Classes
those.
end next Friday,
Yeah.
but, yeah, so that's pretty quick.
No, we need to get it out there
So-
really quick, okay.
If it's something we wanted to do, or if we wanted to wait until the fall and then, include them.
I mean, I love the idea of including the students, but I also love the idea when the students come back. And that the posters are up and it's all over town,
Well, we'll try to get it out this week and get it to them.
Okay.
And definitely. the
Yes,
Adams
Brett.
School.
I'm just wondering I don't know if you're considering just one slogan or several different places in town, just to, it's like coming up the main turnpike and getting.
I think it's a great,
Like the DOT messages,
Yeah.
of course, those are.
I love it.
They have
I
like
love-
3 jokes
I was
that they
like-
run along
Yeah,
95.
I love that. So there could be one grand prize winner, and we could have 2, yeah, I love it, I love it,
So grand
Thank you.
prize, and then first, second, third, and all of those.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay, and all of those will be out.
yeah.
Huge, okay. Okay. That's good. I'll work with Karen and Sue.
Yeah.
on Getting that,
Yeah.
okay.
And what are the parameters that people are given for what they're supposed to say?
Right, good question.
I would say it should be, yeah, it was something like
Yeah.
that, 6 words or less.
6 words or less?
Something of that sort.
And if people want to submit something with graphics, they're, 6 words or less, and whatever graphics you wanna do.
So here's a question, how will the 3 winners be chosen? Is this something that people vote on? Like, could this be an extra vote at town meeting, like off the warrant article?
Oh, I love
Like if
that.
you had mock-ups and said, these are the images,
Oh.
or did a PowerPoint on this.
And actually, what would be so great is because
And
the
have the
town
community,
meeting,
and the community support.
and the town meetings tend to get a little serious, so this would be a moment of levity and fun.
But it is serious, though.
I know.
Very serious.
No, but I mean, it would be a fun part of a serious moment.
Okay, so
That could be
that
fun.
could be
No,
what-
that could be fun. Derek, can we do that? Can we have a vote on something that's not on the warrant at town meeting?
Yes,
Cause
It'd be like-
it's not like.
we've had straw polls, I think, I haven't seen at town meeting, kind of an unofficial
Maybe like
thing.
close the meeting and then.
Yeah, after the meeting, you know, anybody wants to stick around, you can do that.
Or what about before the official meeting starts?
You can do that too.
You know, maybe we could do something like,
But
you,
you're starting the meeting
people,
at 9 a.m., you think
No,
people
but
are showing
people-
up at
pe-
6:30?
no, but people come in,
PowerPoints?
people come in, you have 3 pieces of paper with the slogans on them. You put your 1, 2, and 3. They come in, they fill them out. We pick up the, you know, the papers and somebody counts them in the back or something like that.
And then we announce it at the end of the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah.
I've done straw poll type of
Okay.
things on their way in. Afterwards, you wanna make sure they're not stuffing the ballot boxes. Get ballot security, you don't want people going around saying it's rigged or something.
And then do we wanna coordinate an article, see if
So,
Cassie
yeah,
Patriot
yeah.
will fight on it?
oh yeah, for sure,
In the next week or so?
yeah. Too bad David's not here today.
how many minutes?
Well, he might be the next.
Yeah, we'll be at the next official
Okay,
meeting, so
okay.
I'll
Okay.
text him.
Okay,
And. Oh, that's so cute, I like that.
Yeah, that'll be
So
fun.
It's fun.
So, I think you could even have a volunteer person if you had to take those or whatever,
Mhm.
or. It'd be better, you know,
Maybe the
to
rec
have-
committee-
you can hand
maybe the
it
rec
out,
committee, maybe the rec committee could have somebody who counts it.
you could hand it out, yeah, and then like, I think you'd be right to collect them on their way out or whatever. Or however the
Yeah.
heck you do it. You wanna disrupt the true business, but
No, we
I
don't
think
need
you
to
could
stop.
still, everybody could get,
Yeah.
pick up one of those to fill out and then you collect them. Are you gonna have by that point, are you gonna have a top 3 or something?
Well, if we're giving 3 prizes, we're gonna need a few more.
Right, well,
Well, unless we'll.
I think.
I'm just saying you
I think
don't
we
want
could- I think we
100
could
names, you're
vote to
gonna have
narrow
a
it down
ballot
to
this
3.
big.
You know,
Or we could narrow it down.
Well, we'll see how many we get.
yeah.
See how many we
I
get,
think,
yeah.
I think you'll be surprised how many you get.
And we'll say there are prizes, okay.
There's some artistic people in town that we know of, right, down?
I was trying to think what's that thing I left, when you guys pick up your packets, I put one of those little dad joke calendar things there about. Parking ticket or whatever, have you seen it there? It's taped about on one of the boxes there, and I forget,
Oh.
said something, it says somebody apparently appreciated my parking skills, they left a note on my vehicle. And it said parking fine, something like that.
Fine.
Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, okay. So next, this is gonna be fun, I'm excited about this slogan thing, okay, next is, appointments for, different boards and committees, so we have 3 people.
Yep.
That have expressed interest, Suzanne DeCoursey.
Yep.
Am I saying that properly?
For the
Would
tree
like-
committee,
Would like to be on the tree committee,
okay,
so,
please live one at a time,
yeah, we can't vote on it until the
Okay.
actual meeting.
Okay.
Next time, but we can, I just didn't know if anybody would have any discussion, I mean.
I just think this would be
this
great,
What?
yeah, the letter is lovely, for decades I have been in love with Castine's elm trees,
It's so beautiful.
yeah.
She's a recent resident and
Yeah.
would like to
Yeah.
treat the community.
Yeah.
Right, we have such a worthy project,
Yeah.
wow, all right.
Don, do you guys have a space on the committee?
We
Or
definitely
always
a
have space on the committee?
And actually Suzanne was at our last meeting.
Oh,
Okay, great,
there,
and the POA is the board of,
Board of
Board of
Appeals.
Board of Appeals,
We
okay.
actually have 2
Zoning Board of
people
Appeals,
who are
Great.
interested in the Board of Appeals.
And are there 2 openings, do we know, on Board of Appeals
Yeah,
right now?
I do not know that.
I don't know, let me look at the website. I believe I just said, hey, could we get that on the, well, I can find it on here, right? I know Sue
Don't ask
said
how
it
many
was.
trees we have,
uh,
so.
See, where, I did.
People are on the website.
Oh, you know what? I know where it is. I don't think it's, I think it's easier sometimes to go to the Facebook page. Let me just go. Cause I think I said, hey, Sue, you know how to pin something? And she said, huh? And I said, pin this on top of our Facebook thing. So I think on our Facebook page, there's a pinned message here that says Castine right here, volunteers, which, and it just goes to our website. Oh, no. So let's see, it says we have 2 alternative members, utility committee. Have we recently filled any positions on one of the committees? I think some, no, we haven't.
filled-
Okay,
We have had Bixel some.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, we did.
we had
Was it
someplace.
Board of Appeals for Patty?
Oh, battle, I knew, I thought we did something, so according to this is January 15th, so minus whatever that one was, utility committee, 2 alternative members, historic preservation is 2 regular, 1 alternative. Is that correct, Brooke?
Probably.
Right, planning board, 2 alt members, is that the one we filled? Board of Appeals, 1 regular and 1 alternative,
Okay.
recreation, 1 member, tree committee, 1 regular. I don't know if we have new ad hoc committees,
There's 5 regulars on the tree.
5 regulars, so maybe we need alts. There's 1 regular member opening, or you're saying you
No,
think
I
you're
don't think we have
full?
alts on the tree committee.
You don't think so? So you're not, there's no
We have 5.
opening?
5 regular, it's. there's no-
So how many people you have though? Is there an opening for tree committee?
No, not now.
Oh,
No, we've got, if Suzanne comes in, Suzanne, myself, Patrick, and Kathy, Eaton. Terry
Thank you
Cudline,
for doing that. Thank you
5,
for
and
that.
then we have Carl Olson from the MMA. As the MMA.
ex officio type of
Yeah.
thing, yeah. But so you're counting this person as your 5th member,
Yes.
that's what I'm
Yes,
saying,
he's
there was an
filling an
opening to be
open
filled, okay.
Okay, and,
Yep.
historic preservation, yeah, has a couple, right?
Yeah.
According to this has 2 regulars and 1 alternative.
And so when, like, here we have 2 people who are interested in the board, on the Board of Appeals. Do we determine who the regular and the alternate is, or is that something that the board itself determines?
No,
We
you
have
would do
precedent.
you would do the appointments of which each
So the
person's
specific
thing
one,
is, cause you need to be
okay.
specific on it. Now, if they have a recommendation of, I guess, one over the other as the permanent versus the alternate, that's. You could ask the chairs if you'd like to on that, I think.
Okay. So yeah, for the Board of Appeals, we have 2, Bob Freelander and Bruce Boskowitz. And
And while we're on the subject of committees, you know, I haven't sent the letters out for the housing committee. You know, to whatever, and the reason I didn't do it, I wanted to just check with both of you, you know, about. Should we appoint a chair? And then, you know, have the chair send the letters, or should I send the email to every?
actually, that's a really good idea, because the letter should come from the chair. and not the
Exactly,
select-
that's why I did.
Yeah.
So, you know, do we wanna, do we wanna reach out to a couple of people and say, would you be willing to be the chair?
Do
Okay,
you have somebody in mind?
I would like to have Charlotte.
Sorry, launched a.
Is it Charlotte, people in the back, I say it, make it.
No, you're probably right, and I'm blanking on her.
Charlotte Lake?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, on the back shore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
Brownlee.
Bonnie, yes, thank you.
Thank you. I was like totally blanking on her.
Yeah.
She's certainly got the credentials.
Exactly, so I think that she's, you know, she's here 10 months of the year, they still go back to California. A month or 2 a year, but you know, I mean, the meetings, they can do some remote meetings, but I can reach out to her and just say, would you be willing? And if she's not, I'll look through the list and, I think does it have to be someone who votes here, or could it just be?
Well, this is an ad hoc committee, so we've allowed people who aren't here all the time to be on the committee. I think it should be somebody who votes.
Okay, I would be, you know,
I don't know if we have a policy
Yeah.
We don't
surrounding
have a
that.
policy.
Or,
okay, but I'm saying, like, you know, I'm sure Kevin will do a good job. Kevin's very interested. You know, I mean, I could go through the list and, but let me reach out to Charlotte first, and then if she says no, then, you know, at their next meeting, we'll talk about it.
We would like to get this voted on next week, Monday.
Exactly,
So
I'll call her tonight.
make sure that you let Sue know. If she says yes, make sure you let
And
Sue
then,
know.
and then,
she can
and
put it
then,
on the
and then,
agenda. And then she can put it on the
Yeah,
agenda. Okay, so we have these two people for the Board of Appeals.
Mhm.
I can't talk about one of
okay,
them.
you can.
Bob Freelander is great. Yeah, I mean, I would be inclined to put Bob on the board.
Okay,
and if we look at the date
As
of
the-
the email, he was the first one to
Yeah,
come
he
in.
was- there you go.
Because I don't think we have necessarily concerns about either's qualifications or.
Make the other person.
Okay.
an alternate.
The other person, we can't talk about, right? Or I can.
I can talk about it.
Bruce, make Bruce the alternate,
Okay.
Yeah, okay, let's do that,
something like that.
All right.
and we'll vote on it next week.
Vote on it next week. That seems fair. Okay, so. And then,
So next week's meeting, I'm leaving Friday, so I'll be doing remote.
okay, you're leaving next Friday.
I'm leaving this Friday.
You're leaving this Friday.
Yeah, this Friday.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, we have to talk about that.
yeah, and then I'll tell you which meetings I won't be able to call into.
And then, okay, so then the final person that we received their letter via email was Larry Rosen of the HPC.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, we got an email from him, so Larry Rosen would like to be on the Historic Preservation Commission.
Okay.
And I think
Yes.
that would be a great
I think
thing,
we
so,
did.
It's been-
so, okay, I will send all these to Sue.
calendar.
Let her know that we want this on the agenda for next week. Okay,
Which is Wednesday, the 23rd, right?
which is Wednesday, the 23rd.
Right,
That's
because of Patriots
Is
Day.
it Patriots Day and Earth Day and all those other.
Planning
days,
board,
those other days.
Good Friday, this Friday.
Too many days.
Harvard.
Planning board day. Okay. Um. Have you found out anything more about the guardrail situation?
Hold on a second here. Need to ask. Yes and no. So I met with Greg Bowden last week. We have 12 Jersey barriers. I think we use them for other things. So that if we space them 4 feet apart, that would come up with 140 feet roughly. But we're looking down at them and some places have enough shoulder, okay? Some places don't. So if you travel further down beyond the new home, the people that had mentioned this,
The people.
you'll see that they have some giant rocks there.
Yeah,
So Greg and I, after we looked at it, because, well, for one thing, Greg thought we had a possibility in Hamden of actually purchasing some used 10-footers, which weigh 4,000 pounds apiece, just so you know. But when I had them check back after we met, found out they had already been sold, and they were only gonna be $140 a piece, but we're gonna have to go get them. But even with that, that would have been okay, because brand new 5-footers are like, I'll tell you how much they are.
How many did you say we have right now?
We have 15 of the 5-footers. The 10-footers are only good because being 4,000 pounds, it would take some pretty heavy to get them. So one of the things when we thought we had another 10 or 20 or whatever of these other ones, the used ones, we were thinking, oh, well, we can put those in certain places where there isn't enough shoulder room. But also getting some signage that says road narrows here, that type of thing or whatever. So I don't wanna go full blown into saying that we're gonna close the road down, but just so you know what we're up against here. So each 5-foot barricade new from American Concrete, I think it's so American Concrete, I think Standard Concrete, and then have combined $293 each. 10-foot barriers of 422 new. So you can see why I was excited to get these at like 150 a piece, because even if I had to pay somebody to get them, it would be like the price of one of these new. So he's looking at rocks, giant rocks, similar to what's on these other properties further down where the embankment is, because they pulled out apparently whenever that was, the old cable wood ones, and then put the rocks in. I just signed a authorization to move forward with a pivot for FEMA, because my $750,000 application wasn't going anywhere, because that's how much they're saying it will be to fix those areas. So it wasn't gonna get funded.
To do proper guardrails. from-
No, not guardrails, this is just restore the shoulder down to the, and armor the, so that's what we're looking at, so. They're gonna pivot that into an engineering project, and then I can have an engineer, and then we can look at. Possibly getting a disaster mitigation grant to pay for, hopefully doing that, but in the meantime, we need to do something. So. We're gonna look at these rocks as a possibility for certain areas, right? And then where the shoulder is kind of gone, use the barriers that we have possibly. Maybe we'll find some used ones, Greg's
if you need-
looking out for them.
I don't know if you have access, but Craig Butler, the architect who does work around town.
Yeah,
He has a blueberry farm, and when they cleared the blueberries, he's got these massive piles of like big, big stones, so I mean, I'm sure if we.
well, that's always a possibility too. The thing is, I gotta be able to fit on this much shoulder.
Right,
And of course, I wanna make sure wherever they roll down, that they're not gonna roll into a house, so that's like, I don't wanna put those near a house, cause if it erodes out. One of these boulders might be worse than a car coming down through, cause it's gonna be, a solid, all the weight concentrated in one spot.
So are
So,
the Jersey,
that's what we're
are
trying to
we
do.
gonna use the Jersey barriers in front of Danielle Nutty's house?
Where, in the certain areas where there are houses, that's where we'll be putting those in temporarily. So, and then I was talking to Sean because, and I'm not sure, like I said, I haven't heard from CA Newcomb. But, so I think Sean had measured out like 688 feet or something where we needed guardrails eventually, where they were failing or going to fail. But he was looking at using metal backed wood barriers at a cost of like $140,000. If you look at, and I might as well just show you, I don't, for one thing, the knotweed will change it anyways, but let's see where we are. What did I do? That's weird. Hold on here. Did I move it to something to add over? No, here we go. So if we bring you on a little journey, because I know how you like visual aids. So tell me when that shows up.
Yeah.
All right, good. So as you can see, we start the stretch of road with guardrails, but they're hidden because Sean said, well, I don't know about the aesthetically pleasing part of it. And it's kind of cool because this stuff, so here's where the cables start. So that's why he wanted to use the wood back. To me, once we restore this, the knotweed's probably gonna hide the ugly metal ones anyway, so if we're talking 140 or 50,000 for a permanent solution versus a $25,000 or $30,000 solution to have the metal ones. I'm more apt to say metal, because they're probably gonna get enveloped into the knotweed eventually as these do. But you'll see that all of these are basically.
Yeah.
But through seeing right here, you can see where it drops off, so if we we're gonna put something here, I would put a Jersey barrier probably on the pavement. I don't want it at all on an uneven slope because
But this is
Those are
just,
pretty
this is
heavy.
just temporary.
temporarily, but it
So-
could be a few years. I mean, we'll have to figure that out, but you'll see that it's hidden, so you can't see, but right through here,
Yeah,
it
sure.
slopes off pretty heavily.
Yeah.
And then in some places, you actually have some.
And by yesterday, I'm like, you would not do much to keep
Yeah,
left there.
Okay,
so anyways, so now we're hitting these areas here and you can see through here. But
yeah,
we gotta figure out,
I tell
the
you,
rocks
when-
may be
when-
far,
when-
but see up here, I'll show you, this is where we'll get to. Here, this used to have the same thing, and actually they removed it off here, apparently. You get enough spots, maybe the snowbank will slow you down, because there's a big bank there too, but these right here were put in here when they replaced this big culvert at one time, and all the stuff was laying over, so they put in these big rocks to actually do it, but like I said, these need to be somewhat buried in the ground too, to hold them in there, so when you hit them, you're just not making them roll. So that's why you need some soil there to bury them a little bit.
But when I look at this as you're doing this, Derek,
Yeah,
I mean, this road should be a one-way road. I mean, it's so.
it's narrow.
It is- the second you have cars parked there, I mean, it's impossible to be a two-way.
I actually have that in my notes here, I think we should make, a change to the traffic ordinance.
Yeah,
and just-
so I think it should be one way from town up towards Bob Scott's house with,
Yeah.
so that one way would continue in front of the bakery. It would just,
Keeps going.
it just keeps going.
Yeah, and you see here, like, well, if anything, well, I
That's
don't,
gonna ruin my Scarlet tour.
I was gonna say, that's why I don't know if we need it. I think you only need it from here. From Dyer, because it's not that, it's pretty good.
Danielle lives further down.
She lives for,
Danielle lives further down, yeah, where you're gonna put.
No, I know, but I'm saying one way from Dyer to Spring, or Dyer to
Isn't it
Court
already
Street.
going to Dyer though?
No, it's two-way right through here from Dyer up to Green. I believe, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
it's-
it's two ways right here. You know how I know this? Cause when I'm out checking roads, I can't get up these hills sometimes, so I break the law and go this way back
I do
to
that
Main
with
Street.
Scarlet all the time.
It's two-way.
I know, I'm a lawbreaker, I'm sorry, but nobody else is out during a snowstorm driving around like an idiot, seeing how slippery the hills are.
Okay, it's two to Green, but I don't know that Green, that little section between Green and Dyer is that much wider than any.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know either, but I'm just thinking you gotta, well, you're right. I was just thinking that down through this stretch here. It's, I
You know
don't
what's
know,
interesting?
and by the way, you see, like, when we talk about aesthetics. That we have like regular guardrail all through here, so like, I don't think. It's a big deal, and then
But
we get rocks.
I think the improvement that we made on Perkins Street has been so great that one way, you know what I mean?
I think it's made a huge,
Huge difference. Yeah, so I'm a real advocate for,
I'm
I
sorry.
don't know, yeah, listen,
You're talking about?
you guys,
The Perkins, like.
you're gonna expand your carbon footprint by making those people drive all the way down and then drive down, so you gotta keep that in mind too about how much wasted gas is being wasted, cause I'm just pointing out,
I'll take that rather than the alternative of an accident on Water.
I'm just throwing it out there. I'm thinking you guys are talking about grants and stuff, with solar and everything, you could build a
and
solar.
actually,
farm and
now that we
burn
won,
too
now that
many
we won this
emissions.
award, the best small town in New England. We're gonna have so many people parking there that has to be one way.
To say nothing of the big coaches that are gonna come in.
Oh, yeah.
Hundreds.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
So would you guys be okay if I worked on some
Yeah,
language?
Yeah,
For what, a one-wayer?
Or one way?
yeah.
Shouldn't be that, see, right in here is where it really starts to narrow up anyways, and
And I'd like
if
to-
you do put that there, it's gonna be much more narrow with those Jersey barriers on the pavement, it's gonna take up about 2 feet of the road. So it's gonna be like when I used to go to Green Lake where I camp, you'd have to back up like a quarter mile to the one good driveway to get out of the way so the other car could come. And of course, it's a dust cloud, so you don't even know, somebody can go in 100 near you.
I'm just trying to think. When Bob brings his boat out of the boathouse, the guy comes in this way and he goes up and around, so that would,
Can
it
it go
would,
Spring Street?
yeah, so he would.
You will now.
Yeah,
So Amy, did you have something?
No, I was just thinking of the one-way direction. To me, it makes sense that if we keep the one-way the way it already goes, so if you imagine. You know, the bulk of our traffic in the summer is likely coming down Main
Right,
Street into
exactly.
town, and then
They
you
go
give them
left.
two options.
yeah,
Go left, go right, or
Yeah.
go straight. I think the flow will be better than
Yeah.
if we reversed it into
Yeah.
town.
I can't tell you how many times in the summer when we're tourists here. Sitting on my porch, I see cars going by my house. And they either turn around on my driveway or down at the corner because they have missed the State Street turn.
Oh.
They think they're going out of town.
Oh.
It happens so
Oh
often.
my gosh.
It's incredible.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Well, and I apologize that this is gonna mess up your.
I'm trying to figure out how we
My
can
Scarlet Tour
split
goes
that
that
up,
way,
cause I'm
so
like,
I'm.
so it
But that's
goes
that's what
that
it is.
way.
That's right.
View of the harbor. is
He
far better.
can't get down.
Oh, yeah.
Why are you going on Dyer Street or the other one? Like, what's historic like
I don't go on
there?
Dyer Street, I go all the way.
I don't go on Dyer Lane.
I go out.
I know you said that having a one way is gonna mess it up, cause you can't go
I
down
come-
Court.
I come down
Then-
Spring
Yeah,
and down into
And
town,
back toward town.
down to Green and up Green and around. Because the view, I can point out passing class boats,
right,
or
right.
legacy here, I can point out the ship, which is a better view,
That is a.
all that kind of stuff.
That is
Yeah.
a nicer. view.
Does that mean Spring Street also?
No.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, I think so, because where are they gonna turn around?
At a
There's
certain point, you've
there's
gotta
gonna be
make
that driveway and I'm not gonna go there. It'll be the one at the bottom of the hill and
Do you
they'll,
make it
so it's
a,
gonna, it's gonna mean the people are gonna go out.
that's what I'm saying, if they gotta go that way, they're going all the way.
Mayo Point, so that means that people going to Mayo Point will have to come down Main Street, go up
Right.
Water Street,
Or
and go Mayo Point that way, and then when they come out, they're
Dyer,
gonna have
they'll
to go.
take Dyer down and then, that's why I said, you know.
Well, we're gonna have to have a public hearing
Yeah.
about it anyway, so
Yeah.
we'll listen.
I'm feeling for the people that live way down the end, I'm thinking
At
like,
what point? We'll have a public hearing,
Yeah.
and we'll hear what people have to say about it.
And
Before we make a decision.
Yeah, but this also speaks to the general issue of people using their driveways and their garages when they can't, you know, I mean, whether it's Perkins Street or Water Street. I mean, I know like by the yacht club, a lot of people just go over there to, you know, park their cars while they're sailing. But there's also a lot of people along water, like, is it Skip that just built the house on the.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have any parking, and then there are some people who don't have parking, but there also are people that have driveways and parking there, and they still park in the street. So we really wanna encourage people to,
Right.
and I'm curious too, like, if Derek, with the Jersey barriers as you propose them,
mhm,
how that would impact any parking on Water Street, and if so, like what side it would need to be on, because can you have a Jersey barrier and then have someone park immediately across from it and
Well,
still have
that's.
halfway for the fire truck and for other, you know, vehicles to make their way through?
If they park way on the edge, I was actually driving down there. And I was looking at where we have ditches versus like closed
Right.
drainage, and here, not a big deal, but where we have open ditches. In these areas here, but it doesn't look like we do, it looks like all underground drainage, so I don't think it will matter, but they're gonna end up parking probably with tires on the grass.
Yeah.
Rather than on, which I
mean, so that might impact the traffic ordinance.
Yeah, it might get some complaints and some people that have their nice man, this,
Side of the street.
right here, probably not as big of a deal
How
as
much space you need.
like some of that.
Need to consult with Ray.
Already get some complaints about people parking right around here, so.
Eric, I also, in the beginning, you suggested but the knotweed would just cover the ugly metal
Yeah.
barrier, well, the knotweed shouldn't be there either,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know if you're gonna get rid of, I don't know if you're gonna ever get rid of it though.
Yeah, well, it's pretty, it's a mess there.
I know, but you take it out, if you leave a little bit,
So
it
listen,
comes right back.
So
It's like milk.
you're gonna do some work on it, and then what was the public hearing?
And then we have to have a public hearing before we vote
Okay.
anyway, so
Unless,
Okay.
we'll have. a
unless we can
public
take
hearing.
it down with the ground up.
Do you wanna have a public hearing next
That-
Wednesday?
That will be
That doesn't
popular.
We tried that at our back
I
shore.
mean, listen,
once,
if I'm not here, I'll just call in.
And in
A little
the,
patch, no, it didn't work.
in the Hamptons, I hear they're experimenting with some Asian beetle, and I'm like, oh, that's smart. Once you eat up all of the knotweed, then what are they gonna eat, you know? Not a good idea.
Getting for us. on
Derek,
this.
did you have any more information on this?
I don't have any costs, I know it's gonna be a lot if we try to use 10 footers all the way through there, but that's why I'm waiting for Greg to give me some boulder types of, plans, and then, originally, we're looking at putting them 5 feet or 4 feet in between, but now I'm thinking with the boulders and other places, like strategically, when I was talking to Greg, I said, if there's a driveway coming down a hill, we'll put one there, unless it's right near a house, and I said we might have to try to put them together and hook them together, cause normally that's the strength of those things, cause those are only 2,000 pounds. And a car could probably hit that hard enough if they were flying, I'm guessing through there. I don't think I've ever gone faster than 20 miles an hour, 25, but I'm sure there've been some people flying down there.
So if we had a public hearing next Wednesday, just to hear what residents think about this,
Mm-hmm,
then we could vote on it. We could take their feedback and discuss it at the next work session and then perhaps vote on it at, not next week, but the next select board meeting. Does that sound fair? I don't wanna go too fast, but I don't wanna go too
Right.
slow because this is a serious
Summer's coming fast.
safety issue and
Yeah.
summer's upon us, so.
Mike, he's here to tell you no, he doesn't wanna, no, I'm kidding. See, cause I was actually looking, I said, I wonder if we can pull any of these other cables taut
Yeah, they
back
look
to,
pretty
Yeah.
loose with
You
some
know?
They're
broken.
broken.
well, some of them are broken right off, but some of them like literally dangle in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them was disconnected.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so-
And here, I think there are ones here, but this is where you have just, it drops right off. In certain spots, so,
And Derek, for when we do have the public hearing, if you can have this visual up for people, I think that'll be really helpful.
yeah.
And a winter view too, like right now.
I don't know if I can, I don't know if they'll give me a drive-by, oh wait, I know, I just got May 2023 as an alternative, but. Surprisingly,
Well, you
May
just take some pictures.
is a little better, cause you can see. Truly the stuff, so May be the best view I have. And you can see it exposes them a little bit more, but in here, it's just a jungle.
That's the Feinberg jungle.
Yeah, so the street view, I don't have, the Google's never driven through on the winter apparently.
All right. Well,
What's that sign say? Oakham Bay,
Okay, what's next?
thank you. Okay.
wrapped by
The
fire.
next thing is, and he's not here, so,
We're gonna write it,
we need to write a thank you letter to Scott Vogel.
and I can sign it before I leave.
Yes,
Okay.
and we will get that done. Scott Vogel, we're sorry to say, has, resigned as, traffic enforcement officer.
And then in terms of finding someone new, we just have to put an ad that we're accepting applications.
Yes, is that right there?
Okay,
Yeah, it's on my things to do list,
okay.
along with my part-time public works.
Okay.
I'll get those done. Oh, by the way, I, as a side note, I just wanted to tell you that at 4:20, Susan Collins got her congressionally directed spending application, and at 4:33, Senator King request was put in.
Thank you.
So those are in, and I'm glad to have them off my plate, because out there right now, that was fun time getting that together over the last 2 weeks.
Thank you
So-
so much. Okay, that is great news. The last thing on the agenda is or that we have on here is the op-ed to the Patriot, and I started something and sent it around, and I think we lost steam.
I forgot, I lost it, I looked at it, I liked it,
So-
and,
And I hope we're not missed it.
Okay, I'll send it back
Okay.
around
okay.
and we'll work on.
This is the, what's it, the op-ed and.
About housing
right now it's our two
and
committees.
our two committees.
Yeah, got it. Okay, great.
And then Dan, the one that you have, right?
That,
You
no,
sent
that's for the.
That's the town report, right?
Town
I
report.
just need to append a little section of my own on that, hopefully tomorrow, and then that will be from town report. I
Okay.
just wanna make sure, cause that's what I'm doing, I'm gonna.
And if you.
No, but I think, I
am,
I actually think
need
that
to- I'm gonna
it came
put a
together in a
little,
really nice way. I like the letter a lot.
yeah. No, I'm just gonna add a little bit more little things on the end, it just says town manager addendum or something.
Some Derek humor.
You know.
No, I'm gonna say like, I arrived in July, officially started in August. And if you missed something, I'll add in a couple of other, in
Are you gonna
addition to the,
write this-
right, huh?
Are you gonna write that your birthday's in October?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm just saying that I'm gonna just add a couple little things to like what I see on the horizon, but anything that we did that might not be in the top.
And just so you guys know, what we did it a little different this year. In the past, the town manager has always written the select board town manager report. And the select board decided that we wanted to be involved in the select board town manager report. So the three of us worked together, by sending Word documents and drafts to Derek to create something, so. And I think it worked really well.
I think it was, I really.
We hope you think it turned out well.
I think it's pretty
And
good.
Dan's gonna walk into town meeting and go, that was the worst letter ever.
Unfortunately, the box won't be there.
Oh,
You changed it from that.
we did.
Yeah, well, we have some serious,
And so as the last,
this is called don't plan a vacation a year and a half ahead of time.
you know, that's it.
Well, I am still planning on doing some type of a stream, you just won't be able to vote, you'll be able to watch it though.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
then you can call whoever up and go, hey, say this for me.
So I'll just let you guys know that I did go back to Augusta last week to testify on Nicole Grahowski's LD 762, which would create a bond for all the historic sites. It went very well. I was amazed at how many other historic sites turned up. And Fort Knox was there.
Oh, good.
And the Benedict Arnold House, there's a Benedict Arnold House that was there, and there were lots of people who came out and said, no, we really want this money, so
Okay,
hopefully it'll go.
Good.
Do we have anything from the public? Okay,
Where is the
Another fun
Benedict?
one.
well, then I will move that we adjourn to enter into executive session pursuant to Title 1 MRSA Section 405, 6E for legal matters and personnel discussions. Sorry.
Derek, I just sent you an email with the document that I found.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
Roberta, motion, who seconded?
Second. All in favor? Aye.
What time is it?
5:15.
5:15 PM. Vote 3-0 in at, okay.
You know what the best part is, if you go through this, I mean, it's